Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scared203 here bringing you another Minecraft Fortification tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going ahead and building a line of Dragon's Teeth. Dragon's Teeth are square pyramidal fortifications of reinforced concrete first used during the Second World War to impede the movement of tanks and mechanized infantry. The idea was to slow down and channel tanks into killing zones where they could easily be disposed of by anti-tank weapons. They were employed extensively, particularly on the Siegfried Line. In practice, the use of combat engineers and specialist clearance vehicles enabled them to be disposed of relatively quickly, and they proved far less of an obstacle than than many had expected. The obstacles could also simply be buried using bulldozers and dump trucks. The Dragon's Teeth altogether were used by several armies in the European theater. Germans were the most kind of, I guess, more adopting group of the design of Dragon's Teeth. They used them definitely more extensively. And also the UK used them with using them to form up defenses on the mainland of England in preparation for a possible invasion by Germany. And I don't know 100% for sure if they were used particularly by the Soviet Union or if they were practically used at the Battle of Kursk. However, I think that they were a very good fortification that would go along really good with the Battle of Kursk to say. Since they are designed to be an anti-tank trap and also to kind of constrict armored vehicles to a certain kind of location, I think that this would be kind of like a very iconic or a very good kind of defensive position. Even though it didn't really work too well, it would have been definitely something that probably would have been considered for Kursk and the defensive operations and stuff like that. However, again, I don't know if these were actually used or not. They may not have been. They may have been. Who knows? But I just think that they would go really well along with this theme week. Anyways, I have a total of 4 different designs for Dragon's Teeth. You can see in front of me. I have basically 2 small ones, a medium one, and a large one. And at the end of the tutorial for each basically size of them, I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and kind of put them into a little display and kind of go over what you can kind of add to them and how you can make them look, really nice and somewhat accurate to how they would look in real life. Anyways, let's go and move into the tutorial by starting off with our kind of smaller ones. We'll move up to the medium one and also to the big one. So let's go and... Alright, so to get started with our Dragon's Teeth, it's pretty simple. We're going to be using polished andesite, which you could use concrete for if you guys are using 1.12 or up. Minecraft versions, I'm currently running 1.11, so I do not have concrete, so I can't really use it. However, concrete would be a pretty good block to use here, considering that these things are made out of concrete. However, feel free to go ahead and use polished andesite, any kind of stone material you guys really want. Anyways, to get started here, we're going to go ahead and place down a polished andesite block like so. We then want to place down a skeleton skull on top of it, and this is going to do it for one of your Dragon's Teeth. Very simple, I know, but it's a nice small design there. We're then going to place down a polished andesite block, followed by a cobblestone wall after it like that for our, kind of like our, a little bit bigger than the previous one, but still small. For our mid-size here, we're going to place down a polished andesite block. This is going to be the center. We're going to place down a 3x3 square around it of cobblestone walls, just like that. We then want to place down a polished andesite block up in the middle, followed by a skeleton skull on top of it. And then we're just going to go and place down a skeleton skull basically like this, going all the way around on top of these cobblestone walls, so you get something that looks just like that. For our large version, it's basically just going to be this right here, just on top of a 3x3 base here of whatever stone material you're using. So we're just going to make a 3x3 base here of polished andesite. Like that, we're going to place down a polished andesite block there in the middle. A row of cobblestone walls across, or basically all the way around really to make a 3x3 square here. Polished andesite block in the middle here, and a skeleton skull on top. We then want to place down a skeleton skull here on top of these cobblestone walls all the way around, like this, and this is going to kind of do it for the larger design like that. And kind of a little mock right here you can see is kind of like I have a smaller line like the small ones in the front as the kind of initial line of defense here. Then we have the mid-sized ones that are kind of mixed in with a few smaller ones, and then we have kind of like the big ones mixed in with a few mid-sized ones. That's not exactly the mock I was talking about, but it was something I was working on earlier just to kind of see how these designs would fit together, and I think they came out pretty nicely. Anyways, we're going to transition over to one of my other worlds real quick where we can see what these would kind of look like on some custom terrain. Alrighty guys, so welcome to my basically world where I take all my thumbnail screenshots and stuff like that. As you can see in front of me, I made kind of like a little mock lineup of what kind of like a dragon's teeth line would kind of look like. And, you know, of course, it's probably not, you know, super accurate or whatever, but I try my very best to get it as pretty much as close as I can, judging off descriptions and also some pictures I was able to find and stuff like that. Note that these would be pretty much over a widespread area, and you would have a few kind of channels, so like little cutouts in the dragon's teeth to create little funnels for tanks to go down, maybe around roads and stuff like that, to kind of create that choke point as I was talking about earlier, where the AT guns want to kind of meet up and, you know, be able to shoot that location and hit it pretty heavily against any armor trying to go through. Now, the line here, as you can see, you know, we have this section here now that's on flat land. Now, what they would do is they would actually build a concrete pad that these dragon teeth would sit on. The reason for that is if they had a combat engineers that try to dig under and plant explosives to kind of blow the ground out from underneath the dragon's teeth, causing them to be ineffective. They had the concrete there to kind of reinforce it and be able to hold its own kind of against any small explosives, anything like that that combat engineers would try to use to break through. So they would actually lay a pad of concrete, a pretty thick pad too, to prevent any kind of you know, underground explosions or anything like that from bringing the dragon's teeth down and causing a gap in the defenses. So as you can see here, we have kind of like on flat land, we have some of the concrete pad kind of go into play here. And you can see I just used a mixture of stone and polished andesite. Again, if you're using concrete for the dragon's teeth, I would recommend maybe mixing another block like stone or something like that, just to give a little bit more variation on the ground. I think it looks a lot better that way instead of just doing straight polished andesite. We also have, you know, some barbed wire running in between our, you know, dragon's teeth to prevent any infantry, make it a little bit harder for combat engineers, something like that, to get in there and kind of, you know, mess around with the dragon's teeth. You can see again the initial line of defense here is the kind of like the smaller, you know, the smaller dragon's teeth, and then you kind of escalate to the medium size with some few small ones, and then we have the bigger ones with some smaller ones as well. And you can see it's just kind of like the same on the other side here. And you guys can obviously, you know, pick and choose how you want to go ahead and build your line. You can have maybe just a couple lines of small ones. You could have maybe just some mid ones. You can maybe have some big ones. But personally, I'd recommend maybe starting off with smaller ones, escalating to medium ones, and having larger ones at the end. You guys obviously don't need to put like another line on the other side here, but I mean, it's up to you guys on how you want to structure this. This is just an idea to give you for building these. And if you are building these kind of going up a hill or by a hill, I'd recommend probably not putting a concrete slab in, because it would just be very inaccurate for them to lay a concrete slab on a hillside. So I would probably just keep the dirt how it is and just kind of do something like I did right there. So hopefully that kind of give you some ideas on how to go ahead and go about building these dragon teeth, and hopefully adding some, you know, defenses and stuff like that to you guys' worlds. I think it was a pretty cool little idea, and I think it goes pretty well with the cursed theme. However, you know, you guys can be the judge of that, obviously, and everything like that. So anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this. Hopefully you guys learned a new little fortification you guys can put onto your Minecraft worlds. And you know, with that, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been GAMERTAG 204, and I'll see you guys next time.